Give me 30 seconds and I get the fuck out of here.
You lost?
Pete,
Or just fuck?
I got an idea.
What's the major?
Get all those juicy details, mate.
Once you've taken a few punches and realize you're not made of glass, you don't feel alive unless you're pushing yourself as far as you can go.
Stop now! Not when you were us! You stand your ground and fight!
Welcome to Cocktails Cinema, folks. I am your first favorite bartender, your third favorite author, and the biggest fan of Elijah Wood you will meet, Josh Bryce. I am here, as always, with Bossman.
The denial of Elijah Wood's existence. Hello.
And Shasti.
What's good? Pleasure to be here.
All right. Welcome to the show where we talk about drinks and drink movies. Right?
Right. Yep. Moving on.
Today's movie is going to be Greenstreet Hooligans, and in honor of that movie. I'll give it to you there. In honor of this motion picture, we are drinking the GSE Smash. It is a variation of a whiskey smash. We're starting out with an ounce of Jameson. You can also sub out for Dewar's if you want to be a little bit more authentic. Yeah. An ounce of Jim Beam, or really any bourbon, just so we have that across the pond action. 3 ounces of sour mix, about an ounce of simple syrup, and muddle a lemon wedge, and some mint leaves at the bottom. Currently, mint is out of season, so fuck mint apparently.
It's like
but we got 10. Everything else today. Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Yeah, I will admit,
Smack.
I made this sour mix on the fly. It's not necessarily my greatest move, but
It's good.
it's not bad. It's not bad.
A little maple syrup in there.
Yeah.
Tastes like pancakes.
So if you're gonna make your own, like, maple actually plays really well with lemon. So if you're gonna use maple flavors in a sour mix, stay away from limes and stick with just.
It kind of
lemon.
extends the flavors of both.
Yeah.
It rides that.
Well, and
Sticks with
even
it.
though you can't feel it, like maple syrup, it remains viscous even when you boil it down. So it just kind of floats along your tongue. That said, now that that's floated along my tongue, what's going to float off my tongue is the background. So this movie came out in 2005, and it was directed by Lexi Alexander. Her other notable work was The Punisher Warzone. For you fans of, I don't know, Sex and the City, you'll recognize Mr. Big.
So Lexi's a fighter.
Yeah, she does some fighting movies, some rough movies. Yep. There was no budget given that I could find online. Didn't do too great. Well. You guys want to see? You want to take a guess how well it did?
First.
Box office?
You go first. It's so strange.
Box office. I think I'll go 12 mil.
12?
I'm gonna go 12 mil and $1.
You turd.
All right,
because I'm gonna win this, right?
Right? Just the $1 over. This movie did $4.3 million.
What the 4.3?
4.3.
Wow.
This movie bombed like
Did
a
it even come
motherfucker.
out in America?
I think it only came out in America.
Oh, wow.
And because when it was released in the UK, it came out as Greenstreet. Because Hooligans is a different movie with Sean Bean, also about soccer.
Stop calling it soccer.
Yeah.
Also about American soccer.
Okay, yeah, right. I guess you're right there.
Association football.
All right.
So
Jeez.
when it
million?
released, 4 mil.
I mean,
just
I know
barely
they
over 4 mil.
kind of filmed everything in the sticks and like the schoolyard, but geez,
Still,
4 mil.
yeah.
These aren't very big name actors.
And I think that's one of the reasons like this became like a TNT special. Is it didn't do too great, so the rights to it were probably
and it
relatively
sucks
low.
on TNT. You have to watch it like real.
Yeah. This is not a kids movie at all. It may be about soccer. It's not for soccer players.
It's
for
firms.
drunks. It's for drunks.
Yeah.
So you may be wondering why I mentioned Elijah Wood early up. Greg, you want to talk about cast?
Yeah, we'll get into it. I will start him second. Charlie Hunnam is Pete Dunham. He's the main character. Story follows him the whole way through. Elijah Wood is kind of a additive to this movie. He's the American-born brother of the sister. Blah, 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 blah. Gets his ass whooped. Ross McCall as Dave. Claire Forlani as Shannon Dunham. Leo Gregory as Bover. Mark Warren as Steve Dunham, or the Major. Rafi Spall as Swill, and Jeff Bell as Tommy Hatcha. I mean, there's some more in there, but those are the big players.
That's pretty much everybody. You know, that's the main cast there. I'm gonna do this very intense speed summary. Frodo Baggins was kicked out of Harvard for allegedly selling cocaine. And when he goes to England, he meets up with Jax Teller, and they go to a soccer game. And they beat up a lot of people. And then they get beat up by a lot of people. And then Frodo Baggins gains some perspective and goes back to the United States and is never heard from again. The end.
There's a couple other people who never heard from him too.
I guess it's a lot shorter than Frodo Baggins is used to.
Well, he took a plane in this one. He walked around in the other one.
We know about him walking.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So Frodo on a plane just sounds like a great movie.
That was a good speed review.
You cannot. It was for sure. But Frodo selling coke. Come on, you could take one look at Elijah Wood and be like, even if he was selling coke, I'm gonna take it from him.
I like Elijah.
Yeah, like the cop. Even when the dudes ran him out, like the cops wouldn't believe that. They're like, all right, dude.
Yeah, whatever, bro.
Are you sure this is real, Elijah? Frodo.
Right. So he takes the hit from his roommate.
Yeah. So the inciting incident, if we want to use film terms here, is his roommate sells coke. They know it's coming out of their dorm room, and the way he, kind of dodges the charges is he hides his stash in Frodo's stuff. And all right, I'll call him Matt. He hides his stash in Matt's stuff.
Matt Buckner,
and
bro.
he talks him into, or he bribes him really with $10,000 into taking the fall, and he decides to take that $10,000. And yeah,
well, a bribe is usually you set it up beforehand. Like you just straight rat him out and left 10 grand on the table.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to start the movie off, they're giving him that, the noble credit. Like, he didn't take it at first.
Yeah.
And then the guy turns his back and he gets, now I got what's coming to me.
I'm going to England.
Kind of has that vibe from
he
the
kind of
beginning,
gets
too.
both. He gets the 10 grand and he gets back into Harvard eventually.
Yeah.
So he's got the only happy ending.
And I will tell you, if someone's been to UK, it's like your 10 grand is 7 grand.
Yeah.
At best. Yeah. And the cost of living's higher.
Well, you got to think that's what he used to get plane tickets.
Well, they make it seem like that's what he survived on for 2 months in the movie.
Yeah, because he moved out of his sister's house right away.
Yeah,
she wasn't happy.
They did the draw. They did weeks of matches.
Yeah, and they're not making any money firming and beating people
Yeah.
up. They said they all got day jobs. The guy's a fucking teacher. Jax is a teacher, for God's sakes. Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny too.
It fits. It fits the character.
Yeah.
It fits the character.
I thought Jax was awesome.
Yeah,
It's one of the high points of this movie. I mean, actually, scratch that. The opening fight scene when Elijah gets blasted with a right fucking straight. That's a good one too. The fight scenes they stuck out. It came out in 2005. I think I was graduating high school that year. I've only seen this once or twice, and I remember loving it. Those scenes were epic. Just that there was a big feel to it. You know what I mean? And just kind of scratching the surface of firms being firms, and that's a real thing from the people that I talked to, some of the people that I've known from Europe and other
Well, Simon
countries.
talked about it a little bit in his Fozcast.
Yeah. I mean, he's OG though. That's not in as big of an issue as they portray in
Hatchers.
the movie.
He's
even in
generation.
2005 is 15 years ago. Even at that time, that wasn't an issue in that sense.
Right.
For
Yeah.
probably over a decade prior.
Yeah, it's something that definitely phased out and became a smaller thing.
But it's worth talking about and doing a movie about, especially in that time.
I had a boss that was from Hungary, and I'm Romanian, so he always gave me shit. Forgive me for saying the G word, but he would always call me a gypsy, just for being from I'm Romanian descent. And he would show me videos they were their neighboring countries, they would burn each other's small little stadiums to the ground. What I mean? The shit's real. I mean, there's precedence behind this movie. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider this a historically accurate film,
no.
But the concepts behind it are definitely there. And you're also coming I know this is the middle of the aughts, but this is coming out of the 90s, which were a very tumultuous time for the entire UK. You know, so these guys where, like, the time of the Major would have been, you know, what do you say? He got out 7 years before? Something like that?
Yeah.
So that's...
Kind of fell off.
Yeah, that's the late 90s. And those are the days that Pete would have grown up, you know, watching the GSE, you know, reign supreme.
And this is his brother, and it seems like it's almost a secret to everyone else that it is his brother. Otherwise, he'd be kind of...
I think the only person who doesn't know is...
His wife?
Well, no, she knows, because she's the reason he got out.
True, yeah.
But the only person who doesn't know about, you know, the story of the Major and all that is Matt.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, and part of that is the two people who would have told him know that there's journalism in his family, and journalism's like a taboo thing.
Fucking
for them.
journos.
Yeah. 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 So, like, they don't tell him out of just instinct, and everybody else doesn't tell him because, I mean, they don't need to.
Yeah.
Need to know base.
Yeah.
I just thought that
like,
Tommy
he's still
Hatcher
the
would
Yank.
be so pissed because, like, you know, the Major killed his son. And
Fuck Tommy Hatcher.
I'm just saying, I would think that he'd
He's
be
a
coming
bloody
out
wanker.
I think that he'd be coming out for blood even after that.
Well, first of all, Tommy Hatcher might be the most despicable villain I've seen in a while, because he's blaming specifically just the Major for his son's death, when clearly in the flashback he had nothing to do with it
Quite
other than he
clear.
was at the fight.
Yeah.
Like, you brought your 12-year-old child to a man's fight where you know that regularly bottles get broken and used to stab people.
And that was, like, what I'm saying, like 10 years ago was much more of an issue than it was when the movie came out. Like, those flashbacks, it's like, that's when you don't bring your 12-year-old
Right,
son.
exactly.
Like,
Right. If you see guys with shitty hair
I
fighting
was
in
going
the
to say
subway,
the Major's
don't
awesome
bring your
mullet.
child.
Like, oh my god, he
His
looks
stringy hair. God damn. But all right, so yeah, Tommy Hatcher can suck my balls, because he holds this grudge in ways that are really hard to comprehend.
Yeah, I thought so
Like,
too.
even as a
He
father,
moved fast at that point.
yeah, he's. It's not even that he holds a grudge; it's that he's just a hateful person.
Yeah.
And it reminds me so much. Like, this whole movie reminds me of The Outsiders, but especially Tommy Hatcher.
Okay.
So Tommy's gang reminds me a lot of the gang that joined the Outsiders for the big fight, where it's like, yeah, they had to set these rules where it's like fists only, because this other gang usually fought with, you know, knuckle busters and chains.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's Tommy's gang. Whereas the GSE, they're just down for a rumble.
Yep.
You know, like, nobody dies in a regular rumble. Like, growing up, we used to have fucking street fights where it'd be
Yeah.
like 4 guys, 6 guys on each side.
Well, they make it a point at least one time in the movie, like, you don't hit a man when he's on the deck, and it's when
Yeah.
Matt's on the ground,
And they're accusing him of being a journalist. Yeah. It's like, even when he's the bad guy,
Even when
in
he's
their
the
eyes.
journal,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, even before that, he was even just being American. He was the bad guy. Like,
Yeah.
that was a big thing with Bover. That guy, he was like, "Get this fucking guy.
We don't like
out of here."
outsiders.
You know, we don't need that kind of guy. And he ends up turning the script on the whole thing. Even before he was even giving out information, he was already meeting with Tommy Hatcher, and it was. I thought that was kind of weird. It kind of went unexplained why. He said something about him being a brother. I don't know if it was family.
he had family out that way, but it looked, from the way it's cut and shot, that he was just out for a drive.
Yeah.
And
Where he
like,
stops at like the big Millwood.
well, he's in
hangout.
there. I mean,
Well, he's
it's
just-
not a big
It was like a diner.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
It's
that.
it's
He
not
went
like
across
here.
a bridge and he
Yeah.
and
He
he got
decided to
some
get steak and
mincemeat,
eggs.
some mincemeat and gravy.
Exactly.
And it happened. Yeah,
That's just the way. It's not like here where like we have.
that wasn't like going to their
like
their
even the
bar.
even
But it
closest.
kind of was like Tommy Hatcher's like they walked in like, what are you doing here? Why,
It's not their bar. It's just a diner.
Yeah,
It wasn't
that,
even a
that
bar.
wasn't
Yeah.
like their.
It was like that was a date spot. If you
Yeah,
look at the
I
rest of the
suppose.
people there, like Tommy Hatcher just walked in because he felt like stirring shit up, and fucking Bover happened to be there. I'm not trying to stand up for this movie's progression, because that could have been set up a little better.
Yeah.
But I mean, Lexi Alexander kind of gives off a little bit of a different vibe.
Yeah.
You know, like there's she's got a very specific style, and you can tell which directors she's a big fan of.
Yeah.
But she as good as she is, like, I do enjoy those two movies, you know, the Greenstreet and Punisher Warzone.
Yeah.
But they're not great movies by any standard.
You know, watching this movie, it kind of called back 05. So there's a younger Leonardo DiCaprio. So when I was watching this, like I saw a lot of the beach in this movie.
Okay.
The beach smashed together with a little bit of Guy Ritchie, and that's kind
Lots of Guy Ritchie, yeah.
I got that feel right off the bat. Just the shots, the shoot, just the overall panning, the fast movement. I mean,
Well, even yeah,
and it was kind of a cerebral movie as well because it's all about Jax. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, Pete.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So this is like this is a film student, just because of the way that she directs. Because first of all, yes, Pete is the primary character, but Pete is useless in the story without what we would call the avatar, which is Matt's character, Elijah Wood. Elijah Wood is the character that the audience can step into. And this is what Elijah Wood does best. He is the everyman who winds up in ridiculous situations. He does it as Frodo. He does it here as Matt. He does it in Dirk Gently, I think, as another character named Matt. And he does it in Wilfred. He's just this normal guy who winds up in ridiculous situations. He's never the main character. But he's always there, like, or I think he's in Eternal Sunshine is the same kind of guy.
Always
That's
the
what he does
bridesmaid,
best.
never the bride.
Right. And he does a really good job of
best,
it.
too.
He does a really good job of it.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't. Yeah, you're not wrong on his talent as an actor. He just to me, like you said, he always kind of plays the same role or the same.
Well, I mean, Orlando Bloom has a similar problem. So Orlando Bloom, like you look at Orlando Bloom's
Except Elijah
character.
Wood's ugly.
You take that back right now, sir.
It's harsh, bro.
Elijah Wood is better looking than me. Do you think he's ugly, then I'm ugly.
Josh, have another whiskey smash.
All right. All my Office fans, you got the reference.
There you got it. I just never see them as a dynamic duo, Jackson, Elijah. I know that he was
Look
kind of
at these
forced
guys.
upon. Look at those
Look
studs.
at how they're looking at each other.
Like
Yeah,
Elijah Wood just looks like a guy I want to hang out with. I keep going back to it.
I'm saying
So I
Jackson.
can't get away. Anytime I see that he's in something, I immediately have to see it. Okay. I am still upset that Dirk Gently got canceled. And that was 3 years ago.
Dirk's
So
Gently.
it's great. It's great. We'll talk about it off mic.
Okay.
Because it's weird. But anyway. BBC show, ironically. So we've got the Avatar in the story. Going back to the filmmaking and Lexi being a film student. Like we're on a first name basis. You know Lexi.
What's up, Lexi?
We go way back.
We go way back.
Actually, no, yeah.
Go all the way back to
Alexander. I
2005.
think that might be a fake name.
So she's also got going back to that Guy Ritchie look. She films her action scenes very specifically. Like her cinematographer knows what she's looking for. So there's very little shakiness. There's a lot of Steadicam shots, even in the fights. So when the fights are happening, the camera is steady and everything on the screen is moving. Whereas if you compare that to like Jason Bourne, everything's fucking shaking all the time. And this gives a little bit of, it calms the audience. So like in Jason Bourne, your heart's supposed to be pumping. Like, are we going to get out of this? In this movie, it's like, no matter what happens on the screen, we're going to be fine.
It's funny you say that because at the final shot, the final fight is when I noticed it kind of loosening up on the camera shake because because you wanted that heart pumping.
That's what that's used for. Is to make you uneasy. So the movie, even though we are told the story through Elijah's words, we see everything through Pete's eyes. We see everything through Charlie Hunnam's eyes.
Like you've been
That's
there
why
before.
everything's steady.
Yeah.
No matter how crazy shit gets, he's always calm.
Yeah.
He's always ready to go.
From family to street.
So that's why everything's steady.
Yeah.
And like you said, the only time it gets shaky is when he's emotionally compromised at the very end.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Yeah, that's dope.
Right.
I mean, this is probably a good like pilot for our This Movie Sucks series, which we will get in. We will start at some point. But this is one of those movies. Like, this movie is not great, but it's so enjoyable that it's worth watching. What makes it valuable is not necessarily the script. Like, it's just run of the mill. It's forgettable. I mean, this movie only did $4 million in the box office, but it's worth watching.
But that back and forth banter is pretty solid.
Yeah.
You know, it's like just
Learning some of the slang
and
and
Guy Ritchie. You know, it's that kind of dialogue, back and forth conversation.
Yeah. there's no Academy Award performances in this, but you've got good actors. You've got a villain that clearly evokes such an emotional response that everybody who watches him hates him.
Yeah, he's
and
got that
you're emotionally moved when spoilers, Pete's character is beaten to death, and you have that bittersweet moment at the end during the closing monologue where Matt is talking about how I mean, I guess it's not technically the closing scene, but the closing monologue. It's talking about how, you know, Pete's life taught him stand your ground. Yeah. Pete's death taught him there's a time to walk away. You know, there's an emotional, bittersweet feeling to that, where it's like, yeah, I'm glad you got out. I'm glad you had this experience. I'm glad that you're getting your life on track. But at the same time, I kind of wish you could have been frozen in that moment. You know, the moment right before the fight where you're like when they take the train into the other team's territory. Yeah. Like, that's the moment that you wish you could freeze and just go back to, and Groundhog's Day over and over again, because that's the glory moment. But
and even prior to that final scene, what brings him to that point is that Hatcher stabs Major in the throat. You know, and he says, "If you die here, things are done."
Which clearly wasn't true.
Yeah, but he didn't die.
Well, Hatcher didn't know that.
That's true. But I thought that was a big one too. I mean, that was crazy how they just bum rushed that whole bar. You know, and the only reason why he was still there was to warn his brother. Yeah. And then he got called back for being the Major because he's so well respected. They don't really tell you why. It seems he's respected for this kid's death, which obviously he wants no part of.
It's very clear.
Giant.
When he was leading the firm,
they're the strongest they've ever.
Yeah, they were strong because he was crazy, but he was also a good leader. So like that's why like the bartender clearly got out when the Major got out. He's like, I will only follow one man. Yeah, it's like Michael Jackson or not Michael Jackson. Jesus Christ, Michael Jordan retiring when Phil Jackson retired.
There you go.
Because like I'll only play for one coach, and that turned out to be a lie. But in this case, it's true. I'll only fight for one man. And you know, when the Major goes into the hospital, who stands by his bed? The bartender, you know, his right hand man.
Yeah, because his wife said, you know, she's leaving because she's already had. They had this agreement where if he gets back into it, I know that fucking sucks so bad. He's got to.
He loses his wife, his son, and his brother.
And finally at the end, he's like trying to take off all
rip
his
out the
tubes and everything.
IV.
Like, oh my god, that guy got hit hard for his. It's like that.
He tried to do the right thing.
The sins of your past life kind of thing. It's just rough, man. Yeah, I agree. That was kind of a gut wrencher.
That I would put that on the same scale as burning down the caravan in Snatch. Right. That moment where he's pulling out his IV, he's just lost his brother, he's never going to see his wife and son again. That moment.
But at the same time, Hatcher had that look in his eyes. He was about to kill his son until Pete said, "Get my brother's family out of here," and he knew what was going on.
He started chirping at him about his son.
Yeah,
like, it's your fault. Yep. Just to get him to turn around and kill him.
Sacrificed himself.
He told him some words that he knew. This man came here to kill people over, and he completely diverted his attention from his sister-in-law who hates him.
After he's got beat with a billy club.
Yeah, his brother's family who was in the hospital. I mean, that's where
No,
as much of it that's like
he redeems
I could
himself
say
there.
It might not be this extreme now, and
just drop one.
I just dropped it. Dropped the whole thing. I would say this is last ditch effort. He threw himself out there, and that's kind of like his role throughout the whole thing as being the leader. You know what I mean?
And he sacrifices himself there, and it redeems everything that he did up to that point.
I thought it was kind of cool too when that point ended, when he did get his face smashed in. It was like a king has fallen, the fight is done. Yeah, everybody kind of parted ways.
Everybody stopped.
You know what I mean? It holds true in that old traditional kind of medieval.
Yeah, kind of your champions fight when it's over.
Yeah, exactly. So it's I do enjoy this movie. Obviously, it's not the best. I mean, I really put it up on a pedestal when I was younger because I was angsty and stuff, and
I'm still angsty.
It was different. Yeah, no, it was different, and I you get pumped up now. Like looking at it critically, it's subpar, but it's still one of those movies that you get connected to. You know, I mean, it's easily watchable. You know?
Very. And I think it still has a lot to say despite not being a great film. Like, for those of you who have watched previous episodes, like it has been very hard for me to get to this point of separating how I feel about a movie with how I critically look at a film.
Yeah.
Go back
All
and
of us,
watch
I think,
Doomsday,
did
or go back and listen to Doomsday.
Yeah, Doomsday.
But here, it's very clear to me that I love this movie for reasons that are not about film. Like, yeah, there's elements of good filmmaking here.
Yeah.
Very clearly, Lexi Alexander knows what she's doing. She's just not elite. So if you give this same script to Guy Ritchie,
Seasoned. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
this is a step above film suddenly, just because of the leadership, and that's nothing against her. I think it's incredibly admirable that I can get this film and associate it with Snatch and The Outsiders, because that says something about her ability to make a film. Even though this isn't great, it's like I can see what you're doing.
And I don't know if she had any part in the casting, but I thought the casting was really. I think that was good. That was a really good part of it, bringing the right people into this project. I thought they all worked well.
And who's more Yankee than Elijah Wood? Like, that is the most American.
I always talk shit about like the unbelievable roles, but like you need one in that sense. You know what I mean? I'm watching this movie, texting you guys like just keeping a diary. It serves right for you.
Right.
Like he literally turns around, he's like, "It's a fucking diary."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
Getting his ass beat,
Yeah.
talking about
He
his
should've known.
diary.
He
I
should've known.
love the movie. I talk about like annual movies, ones that we cover for critical purposes, other ones we cover
Just for
for fun.
shits and
reasons,
gigs,
yeah.
and, you know,
Like this
cult-
is cool to come back around because this is like one of my annual movies. You know, this is one
Yeah.
I watched since it came out when I was 18.
Right.
You know what I mean? And not every movie has to be a
humdinger.
cinematic masterpiece.
Yes,
you know
I
what I
agree.
mean? Not everyone's
I
going to
agree.
be a banger that we do, but this is still going to be one where, of course, you know, you watch it once a year, every couple of years. And if you haven't seen it, go see this one and don't watch any of the
Don't watch any of the
Yeah.
sequels. The
Yeah.
sequels are
Big no.
garbage. Shit. Well, that said, do you guys have any other notes on the movie?
Not me.
No, just like the fight scene that you touched on and the camera work being steady until the end when it's getting emotionally charged. The only other thing I have is the original Major's flashback to Tommy Hatchett's son getting killed. Like we spent so much time talking about how great some of these like shooting and action scenes are. It was just the dream sequence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It had that Harry Potter look. So, like, if you've seen the early versions of them looking into someone's memories, like in I think it's Half-Blood Prince, like it looks just like that. It's just it's got a filter on it and it's grainy around the
Little
edges.
smoky,
Yeah,
little-
kind of
Like,
smoky.
at first, it kind of like, okay, like she's dope. She can do much better, and she does throughout the film. But with the emotional aspect that you're talking about, from it going from still shots to a little shaky to just like a blurry sequence that the old Major's trying to get out of his head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes
that
it makes
shot
a
or that
lot-
scene would have
Yeah.
been better shot straight.
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
or
I
even
agree.
just knowing what you said, it kind of.
It was the time. I
Yeah.
mean, I think
It had some-
Half
It was
Blood
totally
Prince
90s
came
time,
out
yeah.
around that time. This might have been a couple of years before
Yeah.
it, like, but still, that was the style.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
so you can't. It could have been done better, but it's understandable.
I like the progression of those shots throughout the action scenes as they intensify.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like the progression of the movie. I mean,
Yeah.
it moved. There was really not a dull spot in this movie. It
The
was
only
just-
where it would have been dull, they have Elijah Wood narrate, and it brings it back up. Like, so there's a transitional moment where he's leaving the bar after you've been introduced to, all right, we're the GSE again, and he's walking away, and he's talking about that he has that line where it's, you realize you're not made of glass. That would have been a very boring transition otherwise, because it's just him going to his sister's house, and they elevate it by giving him just some vague, emotionally charged, like fuck
Diary
yeah
entries.
yeah, some fuck yeah dialogue.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even have to care about what's going on. Like, every guy who's got adrenaline in his blood is like, fuck yeah, I'm not made of glass. I can take a punch. This guy's awesome. I want to hang out with Elijah Wood, except for Greg. Greg doesn't feel that way.
No, I think I'll stick with Jax. Or the Major. Or the Major's wife.
Scandalous.
Scandalous.
All right, but anyway.
Yes.
So, any further thoughts? Anything else?
No, I like this movie.
Sports and fighting. You know?
Yeah,
Sports,
yeah.
sports,
That's really what it is. It's sports and fighting. And let's be clear, the same kind of people that we're rooting for in this movie burned down Philly when they won a championship a few years back. So the real world equivalent is not necessarily the greatest person.
Yeah,
but
Bull's first three weren't pretty. You know?
They're never pretty. Tom Brady, look at that drunk fuck throwing the $50,000 Tiffany trophy from boat to boat. Hey, it's okay.
That's a baller move, though. It's a motherfucking ocean, dude.
Afford it.
all right, so we have arrived at our final segment of the show, our taco rating.
Spoiled taco.
Verde.
Greg likes to rate out of 1,000. Me and Shasta usually do it out of 100. So, Grego, what is your taco rating for Greenstreet Hooligans?
Greenstreet, the GSE Elite. The GSE. I gotta go low, man. I love this movie, but I gotta go low, like really low on this one. I'm going 69.
69?
Yeah,
Giggity.
69. No hundredth, no thousandth to that one. It's a straight 69. Just think it's a great movie to watch. Just not up there with the acclaimed.
Totally fair. Totally fair. Shasti, what would you rate it?
How about you go first? I'm gonna give it like the same thing as Greg. So
I am spot on with Greg. I'm giving it a 69.
Yeah,
lovely.
This is not a film that I can tell everybody to go see, but for like-minded people, absolutely go watch it. It's hard to find since it's not a very popular movie. You can find it on YouTube, and occasionally you can find a DVD copy.
Yeah, we found it on
somewhere.
YouTube for free and like good high def shit.
Oh damn!
Look at
see
that
this
audience
rating?
score. Audience score is solid.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're talking about.
Exactly.
How you
Yeah,
feel
critically,
about
it's
it.
not a good movie, but audiences love this kind of film.
I mean, I would have said like 71, 69, 70, somewhere in there. Same.
Yeah, it's just one of those movies.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's still we've done movies that I rate 85 to 90, and it's probably not gonna watch it again unless it's like on. You know what I mean? Like I'll still watch this movie.
Yeah.
Like seek it out. You know,
I'm
I have it down.
yeah.
I've had it forever. It's,
I plan on. It is a mission now for me to find an actual like collector's edition of this DVD.
right.
Like I need to find it now.
If anybody listening or watching can put us on one.
Right. Now, to those of you who are listening and watching, I wrote a book. Oh. It's a young adult fantasy novel called Reaper. You can find it in hardcover, paperback, and ebook on Amazon.com, BarnesNoble.com, anywhere online you buy your books. If you just look for Josh Price Reaper, it is the first thing that pops up on Amazon. That said, getting down to company business. If you are watching this on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell icon so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. We upload new videos every Sunday, and we try to upload every Tuesday and occasionally on Thursdays as well. Every Sunday is Cocktail Cinema Day, and then on Tuesdays we're going to be having Thesis Statement and Director's Cut. Now, Director's Cut, I'm going to throw it on over to Fozman, let him explain what we got going on there.
Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to be talking directors. We're going to be ripping them to shreds and building them back up. We'd love for you guys to pay attention and listen to what we have to say. There's a lot of them out there, and we got a lot of voice to be heard, I suppose.
a ton of good content, a little different format, a little quicker form. I think it's gonna
be fast.
If you like this, you're gonna love Director's Cut.
Agreed.
It's easy.
Now, if you do like this, you can also hop down on YouTube into the description where you'll find the link to our Patreon. Otherwise, it is patreon.com/priceisright or Sippable Opinions, depending on when you're watching this. Regardless, either link should send you to our Patreon page, and there if you sign up, you'll get exclusive access to some of our podcasts, early access to everything, and exclusive access to pilots of all of our new shows. With the exception of Director's Cut, we just kind of went forward with that one. But everything else you'll find there. You'll find the mildly embarrassing pilot to Thesis Statement. Good episode. I was just still figuring things out. But you'll find pilot episodes to some of our podcast shows. You'll find the pilot episode to Fozcast, Greg's podcast. Just lots of good stuff there. For those of you that do support us already, we see you, we hear you, we love you.
Love you.
And we'd like to say goodbye.
bubbles in the air. They fly